It just won't stop raining. It just won't stop. Please stop raining. Yeah, way too much rain the past few days for me to do any videos, and I wanted to reshoot one of the segments of this video, but because of the rain I couldn't get to it, so you're going to get the bad version. I just wanted to do a quick overview of the property here. My last video was a welcome to, kind of an overview of the channel and myself, and this, now I want to catch people up on the property. I only show about 1 acre of my property on a regular basis, and the other 2 acres I don't show, and well, we'll see why in this video. In addition to the rain, one of my computers, my desktop computer, just went on the fritz for the final time. It's been limping along for a couple years now, crashing all the time, having to reboot it, and it just, having that second computer though, really, that's how I can interact and do comments and watch other videos and stuff like that. But now I'm down to the one computer, and when it's busy doing something, it's busy doing something, so I can't multitask, as it were. But I'll get that whole situation figured out. Something will pop up. I can get by on just my laptop for right now. With all the editing I'm doing, I might have to splurge a little bit on something a little bit better than the hand-me-down. That it's a Windows Vista. It was gifted to me like 6 or 7 years ago, and it was a few years old then. And yeah, it just it served its life, I think. Anyway, where am I? I'm doing a video about the overview of my property, and okay, here we go. Where in the world is Havana, Arkansas? Let's start with that. In relation to the rest of the United States, that red star, that's about where I'm at. This is Arkansas and the surrounding areas. I'm the red dot. Fort Smith is hour and a half, depends on whether or not you get behind somebody going 45. Russellville is about an hour. Little Rock is right there, is roughly 2 hours. I haven't driven to Tulsa. That'd probably be, I don't know, 3 hours. Oklahoma City, I don't know, 4.5, I'm guessing. Same with Memphis, would be about 4.5. Anyway, that's where I'm at in the Arkansas area. Now we get closer to my property. Once again, I'm the red star. This is Blue Mountain Lake. That's Blue Mountain Lake. Waveland is on the map. It's not a real town, but that's about 7 miles away from me. That's where the nearest gas station is, in Waveland. No population sign. Havana, that's where my post office box is. What's their population's like 350, I think. Blue Mountain, their population is 124. Magazine is 600 and something. Let's see, Magazine, that's just about a half an hour, and Boonville is 40 minutes. Boonville is population about 4,000, so that's the nearest city. In this direction, Havana is small. Danville is also about 35-40 minutes away, and it's a town of 2,000. So that's roughly within 45 minutes of my house. Not much population base. And as you can see to the south of me, that's all the Ouachita National Forest, and to the north of me, this is Mount Magazine, and that's all National Forest also. So those are very, very sparsely populated areas, and I'm just kind of sandwiched in between them. So not very many people live in my area. Say hi, Grumpy. Grumpy, say hi. moving right along. This is the satellite view from Google, and I'm the red star. And you can see to the south of me, that's all the Ouachita National Forest and the Ouachita Mountains. Blue Mountain Lake is right there. And then we have Mount Magazine, and as the crow flies, that might be 10 miles at the most. But to drive there, it's like 45 minutes to get up there. And I haven't even driven up there yet. But as you can see, this is like within a half an hour of me, and there's just not much population. The towns would be about 1,000 people. And yeah, so that's a scoop on that. Now let's look at the property. I apologize for my lack of video editing, software and skills and equipment. And anyway, we're going with this. This is the satellite, the close-up of my property, and it's there's the lane, and that is, well, I'll get into all that. But yep, that's the. If I had a drone. Or if I knew somebody who had a drone that stopped by. I don't want a drone. I don't need a drone. That would be my view of most of my property. You see the treetops. You can't see the stuff underneath it. Anyway. The next series of video will be trying to explain all the scribbles on my property map. The first part, this is the northeast corner, basically. That's where my chickens are. And I've got the white is a little pile of trash, and so yeah, that's what this first video clip will be of this area in red and that white there. This is the area in red. This is where I've got the chickens, and then behind the chickens that's been cleared out by a bulldozer, and there's a good 6 inches of wood chips along most of that. So yes, that is the red area, and this is where I have the chickens, and I'll keep at least 2 of these 3 coops here in this area all winter long. And then that little white section out, well, you can't see it behind the big pile of metal. I should have another little white dot for the big pile of metal also, but that's trash. The trash is in white on this map. The next clip will show this pink area. That's where I did a lot of flower gardening last year. And also this blue is where my cabin will be going, and the orange is the mobile home. So this next clip is this general area. And those are the areas where I've mostly been filming since I've gotten here. Let's take a look. Alright, this area to the south of my driveway, this is the area in pink. I planted a lot of flowers and stuff out there. But yeah, this is the area in pink, the high ground where I can put my gardens. So around the blue area, which will be here, that is where my cabin will go. And then we have the mobile home, and that's on your map also. Now we will take a look at this white area, and that is behind the mobile home. I do not video back there, hardly ever. But I have been back there a few times and shown video of that. Anyway, let's take a look at that, and then I will come back and add more. Next to the red area on the north of my property is, well, in the bottom right corner, it starts with this shed, which is full of trash and junk. And then behind this shed and behind the mobile home, that's all the way up to my property line, and that does go uphill. It goes uphill from the mobile home to my property line to the north, so that's interesting. But that's all full of trash. I mean, just thousands of aluminum cans for one thing, but and then just that looks like an old chicken cooper. And there are there are old appliances out there. There are old gardening equipment. There's all kinds of trash back there. So that is the white area that I don't show it to you very much. I probably will this winter now that the jungle has died off. I can get back there and hike around a little bit easier. Okay, and that was the white area here. I've got chickens in there, so it is to the west of the chickens and to the north of the mobile home. My compost piles are right in that corner of the property, and there are some on the other side of the lane. What these two yellow things are, that is what I'm thinking for a future camping spot. And yes, it's right in the middle of where all the trash is. So I probably won't want to keep animals there. I probably won't want to be doing much gardening there. So, you know, having a leveled, cleared area for a vacation spot or 2 vacation spots, maybe, I don't know. Anyway, that is where I'm thinking Mount Magazine would be to the north up there, and so that would give them a decent view. And what I would do is leave a lane across the fence as access to that area. That's a relatively high spot. The property goes downhill from north to south, and well, we'll get into this green area and all this area. We'll get into that in a second. But yeah, that was a wide area. That's where I'm thinking of a future vacation spot, since I won't be using it for typical homestead uses. And yeah, next clip. In this clip, I'm going to talk about the green area. That is where some of the trees have just been cleared. Also up in there, the telephone line, well, I guess there was a telephone, but the electric line went, you know, basically from that corner there. So all the trees in that path have been trimmed or taken out. But this is the area that floods and gets wet. And then back in here is not well, I'll come back and talk about that. But I'm talking about this green area for the most part there. All these white dots, that's trash in that area. But once you get past those dots, then, well, let's see. Now I am standing about where the back of my cabin will be. And this is the green area. This is the part that gets soggy when it rains a lot. A handful of times in the past year, it's built up some water. The water doesn't stick around. It soaks up in a day or two. But that is the green part, and this is the lowest part of my property. And the water comes from back here. Let's go look. Okay, here are my hugel messes. But the water comes through here on its way down to the lowest point of my property. So yeah, I want to put more hugel messes down there, and I've got 2 here, and these need to be, well, I need to turn them into actual hugel mounds. But the water comes around that corner right there, and then if you can see this kind of stone wall, well, that acts as a water diverter. And then there's trash littered all the way through here. There's a little stream that will come through there along the wall, and it gets to the end of the wall, which is under that mess, and then it heads east. So that is the direction the water comes from. It's relatively flat on this side, but then towards the north side of my property, it's pretty steep uphill. And so that's where the water comes from. It's uphill all the way along the north edge to the western edge, and it goes downhill from my neighbor's properties onto mine. And so the water gathers kind of in the middle. You'll see it on the map, and then winds its way around. So if I were to put a small pond, it would be back there, and then I would have a couple puddles, so to speak, with swales. And what I'd like to do is direct the water coming downhill from the north part of my property towards this area in hopes of keeping a pond full. But that's years in the future. I mean, I don't show this part of the property because it's a jungle back there. I'd have to clear a ton of brush, and that'll happen one of these days, but not anytime soon. I got my hands full with what's going on already. This is the area under these green squiggles that I wouldn't mind getting cleared for another chicken run. It's relatively, once you get past this trash, it's relatively free of trash there, but it's a jungle. It would just have to be cleared out some. And this area is lower than up there. This orange line is like a ridge, top of a hill, the high point, and it goes downhill. That's what those other orange lines are. Pretty steep hill too. So this is the highest point of my property, and this is where the water comes down. That's where I'm thinking for a pond, and then 2 smaller puddles to kind of help try to keep the water on the property more, I guess. And so yeah, this area is relatively dry. This is the path that the water currently takes, and that area stays relatively dry, so I could do something there. And then yeah, I don't even know I don't a lot of possibilities once I start getting to the back half of the property. Okay, yeah, this is the very back western point of the mobile home, and it's just, well, you can probably see it in there, and that's rather tame compared to what's in that direction. It just gets thicker and deeper and more. But there's well, you can almost see where the stream goes through there. But yeah, and that is, but once I get past this little line of trash here, there's no more trash for the other half of my property. So yeah, once I get it cleared back in there, there will be more I can do back there, especially my chickens. I'd like to get in here this winter and clear a patch in here behind the trash for at least one of my chicken runs. And I would like to do a permanent chicken house too, eventually. So much to dream about, but that's basically it. So that is the overview of my property. Let's see, what can I add to this? This red area, that's where all the wood chips have been spread out, and I still have the piles, and then the chickens are in, kind of in this area. I will be keeping the chickens in that general area. I don't know how long. I'd also like to keep some of the chickens in this pink area over this winter. But all of that hinges on, getting the cabin in here and all of that being left alone by a bulldozer and trucks and stuff like that. So, things are you just kind of have to go with the flow. And that's why I think opening up this area, an area in there this winter for the chickens would be good, so that I've got another place. And then far into the future, there's a stone wall in the corner of my property. That's pretty cool. And I don't know what can be done with the high ground up there. There's not a lot of space between the top of the hill and the property line there, and then that's kind of steep, so I don't know. But and there's a lot of trees back in there, and that's not, I do not want to clear this back half of the property at all. I will, hopefully learn how to manage that properly, so that those the good trees can keep on thriving, and then we'll see what I can incorporate under the canopy of the good trees that are healthy and thriving. So, yep, that's basically it. Grumpy, does my voice put you to sleep? You sure look comfy. Behave, Grumpy. He's over there shaking the camera. Yeah, sorry, I'm not very good with the editing skills and software and all that stuff. Maybe I'll do better. That'll be one thing I'll try to do better at this year. But I've been wanting to do these last two videos for a while, kind of a reintroduction and then an overview of my actual property, because I don't show half of my property hardly ever. It's just kind of a jungle, and so you take a camera back there and you can't really see anything except the brush 2 feet in front of you. So there's no good footage back there yet, but I'll be working back there. And man, this week has just been a big old bummer with all the rain, and that means I can't get work done on bring the cabin in, update on that. There's no update on that. Everything's the same as it was since the last time. No date yet. You can't predict Mother Nature, so I'm not going to have a date until it stops raining for a few days. And I still need to put plastic down. I still need to bring the gravel in. He did bring over I'll get into all that. But yeah, I'm just on a holding pattern because of all the rain, and more rain in the forecast. So who knows? Who knows? But once the gravel gets down, well, then they still have to get back in there with the truck or whatever for the delivery. It'll happen when it happens. I'm getting a little impatient though. What else was I going to mention? Oh, computer problem. Yeah. So I've got well, the old computer that crashed. I've got 2 others that are old. And what I've been doing to keep this one alive for the past 3 years are taking parts, you know, a processor here and memory from here, and now I think I need a motherboard from one of them, and I shifted a power supply, and I'm about done with all that. Time for me to join the 21st century, or at least the 2010s. It's 2019 now. And I'm rambling. I'm getting a little stir crazy because I can't be outside working in all this rain. But I'll have there have been a few happenings, and I'll have updates soon. Take her easy, everybody. Thanks for watching.